Sunday morning, service in progress. It's a tradition of worship established 7 decades ago that continues to grow amid changing times.
All things visible and invisible, and in one Lord Jesus Christ.
To the congregants, this is the Orthodox Patriarchal Cathedral of Sts Cosmas and Damianos, popularly known as Sts Anargyroi Cathedral of Nairobi. But to many Kenyans, this is just the Orthodox Church along Valley Road. This is a gem, a national heritage, and an oasis of spiritual grounding. For decades, this unique piece of architecture has been a symbol of Nairobi's past, present and future, and the lingering memory of the Eastern Orthodox's elaborate footprints in the nation. It epitomizes the Byzantine building designs of the Eastern Roman Empire that also embodies the rich Greek legacy in Kenya. Metropolitan Makarios is the current Archbishop of Nairobi in the Greek Orthodox Church of Alexandria, under which the Sts Anargyroi Cathedral falls. He first came to Kenya in 1977.
Whenever they will go, the first thing they will do is to open the place of worship, a church, and at the same time a school. So for this reason, when the first Greeks arrived here, mostly from Asia Minor, after the revolution, of 1992, 1921, 22, it is when the first people arrived from Asia Minor here in East Africa, let us say, but also in other countries of Europe and America.
The land on which this church stands was a donation, just like the entire construction of the church that proudly sits on it. It was a gift from a couple, Anagri Antonia Monas and his wife Angeliki. They were part of the Greek community that had settled in Iringa, Moshi and Arusha in northern Tanzania in the early 20s. However, they later moved to Kenya, where they established businesses and agricultural enterprises.
And they brought also an icon painter who painted that beautiful icon, and the rest in the middle of the tomb there, but also the other icons. He came from Greece, and when the church was ready, they started actually worshipping there. And the first father who was appointed was a priest from Tanzania.
Joseph Waweru is now just over 80 years. He has known no other place of worship since his childhood. When this church was under construction, he was aged just about 10 years in 1951. He still holds the vivid memories.
Wakago niyo hindi na Angiriki anyinyi ona matingehinga tatano uhindi na Afrika aria riu aguku Kenya nio makaga kundu kuriku kundu guku tacio riu ndirakwira ucio wa family yake nuthia mugia no ucio ngidakwira etagwo Mungai nio nao makiroraga andu aya angi uria mareka no ithuĩ tutiaingatagwo twakorwo twi guku ona tuona aria angi mana maroya mahiga tugagithie tukanyita ihiga titung'eng'anire rigatutugugia magoka magakioya ni mahiga manene muno mana ni makite nyumba ino na maritu timo mariwe maria marathie kuhurwo na macini macongagwo na moko ne andu ti macini ne moko na mishumari.
Other Greeks would later set up base in Kenya from Ethiopia, where Anastasia Giannopoulos was born almost 8 decades ago. She and her family relocated to Kenya in 1955 when she was age 10.
Well, the first thing that we did, my parents did, was to go and find out if there was a church here, if there was a Greek church, because they were both churchgoers and they wanted us, to get into the pattern of being a Greek Orthodox and feel very proud about it. So we went to church the first Sunday that we had arrived. We were taken to church. And it was a bit different than the church that we were used to in Ethiopia. And we looked around and we didn't see people that we knew. We were strangers. But the priest, I can't remember his name, but the priest came and welcomed us and said to my father, I hope you will continue bringing your family here every Sunday. So that was a ritual. Every Sunday we used to get dressed and off to church until we went to boarding school.
Kwale kwega muno no Africa tutiari aingi. Liu aria mari guku aingi ni aeru muthemba wa Macarius riu bishop riu nio mari guku aingi muno ona ni gukangaga anyinyi no hingo Africa no onire tatano kana 10 kuisha aya giothe ni kabila yao.
Most of the congregants were Greeks living in Kenya at the time, but this would change one Sunday on the 14th of April 1957 when a special guest made an appearance.
Archbishop Macarius, released from his exile...
Michael Christodoulou Muskos, who later became Archbishop Macarius III, was in Nairobi. He had just been released from forced exile in the Seychelles. The British colonial government had expelled him from his native Cyprus for agitating for freedom. On this day, he was allowed to preach in this church.
And my father came to the school and got special permission if he could please allow us to leave the school and go to the church and listen to his sermon. And the headmaster said, you know, this is great. We don't usually get such requests. But he did give us permission, and we went and we saw this man who was imprisoned in Seychelles give us a talk about love and unity and not to hold grudges against people.
His sermon was controversial but timely.
He was saying that I am struggling to see my country is free and we need independence from the British colonial rule. So in the same way, that very day, he criticized very much the British government for mistreating the Kenyan people in the same way. And he opened his mouth in a very loud voice telling, because the foreign journalists were there, of course, and they quoted down everything what he was saying about Kenya and about the people who are struggling and so on for their liberation. He supported them fully, and he actually encouraged them how to fight the British the way we were fighting in Cyprus.
Kenya was in a state of emergency that had been declared by the governor Sir Evelyn Baring 3 years earlier as a response to the Mau Mau War. The British administration was understandably livid.
The first information came from London, from the House of the Lords, that the Archbishop should leave immediately Kenya.
But to the local freedom fighters drawn from Kiambu, Nyeri and Murang'a and the community at large, his was a voice sent straight to the colonialists by God himself. The sermon embodied their collective dream of freedom grounded on self-rule. Many joined the local Greek Orthodox Church where they felt at home. By then, Jomo Kenyatta and other freedom fighters were in detention, but his message cemented the friendship between the two statesmen and their respective nations. The unity between the Greek Orthodox Church and Kenyans has stood the most trying strains throughout history. Hence, the position of the Church in this nation continues to predict its own future and that of Kenya by jointly creating it. After Kenya realized her independence, Bishop Macarius, who was then president of Cyprus, would return in 1972 on an ecclesiastical mission. The two leaders also launched the construction of the Archbishop Macarius III of Cyprus Seminary located in Riruta. Father Paul Njoroge is currently in charge of the Anargyroi Cathedral of Nairobi. He represents a future that was envisioned 70 years ago when this church was built.
I am the priest in charge here since 22nd May 2022. I arrived here and that's the day we did the first liturgy. And since then we glorify God, for He has been with us throughout until now when we are celebrating the 70 years, just a year after.
But there are those who charted the course ahead of him, creating footprints that he now treads. Upon the inauguration of the church, a priest from the Greek Orthodox Church in Tanzania, the late Father Gabriel Nicolaitis, would visit and serve congregants. He was actually the one who welcomed Archbishop Macarius III to the church in 1957. He was later succeeded by Reverend Father Daniel Christopoulos, who now serves as the Director of Christian Development in the Orthodox Christian Mission in Florida, USA. Reverend Father Martin Ritzi would take over and now serve as the Executive Director of the Orthodox Christian Mission Center in Michigan, also in the United States. Upon Ritzi's end of tour of service at the cathedral, the leadership transitioned to Father Amphilochius. Ugandan Reverend Jonah Lwanga became the first African in charge of the cathedral. He died in 2021 while serving as the Metropolitan of the Orthodox Church of Kampala in Uganda. Upon his elevation, Reverend Lwanga was succeeded by Father Johannes Echo from Finland. He died in 2006 as an archimandrite in Nairobi. This is the highest rank for a celibate priest towards episcopacy. Reverend Innocentius Byakatonda, who is currently the Metropolitan of Burundi, Rwanda and Eastern Congo, also served the Sts Anargyroi Cathedral. Due to his great dedication to the cathedral, he is a towering spiritual figure to majority of the adult faithfuls. He is also from Uganda. Reverend Father Siluanus Mwangi, who is Vicar General Emeritus, became the first Kenyan in charge of the cathedral after succeeding Reverend Father Byakatonda. Another Kenyan, Father Evangelos Thiani, would take over the reins of servanthood. He currently serves at the St. Stephen's Orthodox Church in Kikuyu. He was ably succeeded by yet another Kenyan called Reverend John Ndungu, who is also an archimandrite. Ndungu is currently involved in monastic missions at Kinongop in Kenya's Nyandarua County. Now, 7 decades on, the Anargyroi Cathedral of Nairobi is staying the course and drawing in more converts.
I actually thought Orthodox was only in Ethiopia. So I decided to come here 1 year ago, 2nd October, and I came here wanting to learn and know more about Orthodoxy, and my journey led to my conversion, and now I'm an Orthodox Christian.
Well, it's a place where you come and find a lot of presence of God in worship, how we sing, how we do our service, and most especially, I'm thrilled by how inclusive the church is also. The church is towards everybody who comes here.
The Orthodox Church is no longer an exclusive community Greek affair.
I think the biggest surprise was how many Kenyan Orthodox there were. Because I've lived in Zimbabwe, Ethiopia, Panama, and the first thing I would do when I would travel for work, I would always, Google where's a Greek church. And I came here and I was like, oh my goodness, there are more Kenyan Orthodox than actual Greek people. So I was kind of amazed, first, how many local people embraced Orthodoxy, and I think the second thing is how nice everybody is.
This has also seen a unique form of integration between the Greek community and locals. Making a difference by changing the game for better are some of the virtues that shaped this church into nothing but 70 years of pure and unblemished spiritual and intellectual patrimony of hope. And the future is nothing but bright.
70 has always some significance. It is the time people relook at how things have been. They reflect back and renew their strength afresh, and they do things to glorify God again afresh, so that at least our work can be known and go to the whole world.
And you know, Orthodox faith, we say, is the true way. That's why if you do anything that is out of the norm anywhere, you are being told you are applying an Orthodox means. Because if you have to do things the right way, then you have to do it the Orthodox way. Orthodox stands for the true value and principles and practice of Christianity. And you have kept those values years and eons.
Well, this church already, the way it is beautiful. It's a wonderful cathedral. What I would say, we can't really say we will bring it down. Maybe if the numbers would grow exponentially, we would only add some sitting spaces, slowly by slowly. But the altar and the original arrangement wouldn't be fully, or there would be no need to destroy any part of it.
Praise the Lord, oh my soul, shall praise the Lord while I live. I shall sing to my God as long as I exist.
As part of the family of the Orthodox Church across the world, the Anargyroi Cathedral of Nairobi continues preaching the scriptures and living the holy traditions on which it was founded.
At that time, there came to Jesus a man named Jairus.
Traditions that are based on the decrees of the 7 ecumenical councils that were established by its fathers. The Holy Fathers who established a holy heritage of the one Holy Catholic and Apostolic Church was established by Jesus Christ himself.